Hey everybody, and welcome back to Slowpoke Racing with me, Mark, and to the Ultimate Racing League. This is round 3 of our Sunday challenge. We're in the Group 3 cars, and I'm with the League of Champions, so I am watching or following the top tier guys. This week we are in Kent at Brands Hatch. If you remember or you watched last week, we were in Switzerland at the Deep Forest Raceway, in which Bailey totally dominated. This week we've come down to Kent and as I say, to Brands Hatch, and yeah, let's see if Bailey can dominate this one. Just before I get going, I just do want to say, if you do enjoy watching these videos, then please hit that like button, and if you haven't already, if you could subscribe, it would really help the channel out a lot, and I would really appreciate that. So yeah, hit the like button and subscribe, and thank you to those that have already done all of that. Right, moving on to this one, our sponsors for this season. I do want to say a big shout out to them. We've got Dubby, the energy drink for gamers. Now if you head over to Dubby's website, it's dubby.gg. If you enter the code URL 7, you may be able to get yourself a bit of discount on some of their products. So head over there and have a look and see what you can get. Our other sponsor, and we're glad to have him on board for this season, new to the sponsorship section, is Eldridge Air Conditioning, EAC, Eldridge Air Conditioning. Great to have you on board, and yeah, look forward to working with you this season. So on to the race. As I say, we're in Kent. This is a bit of a strange first race. It's supposed to be 22 laps, but apparently there were some technical issues in the beginning of this race. It wasn't spotted till they got about halfway through, so the race had to be abandoned. But what the guys have decided to do is carry on and do the final 10 laps under the proper race conditions, and the grid lineup is where they finished when they sort of abandoned the first half of the race, if that makes sense. So we are only doing 10 laps, not 2. We are only doing 10 laps, but as I say, the guys have already done 12. So we'll go down the grid order in a second. First of all, the track, 3.9 miles, 9 turns. Now I got handed a note late last night, and apparently some of the corner names have been changed, and I've got the notes in front of me, so we shall have to go through the corner names as we go along. So yeah, that should be fun. Tyres for this race, it's just softs. It is just a sprint race, so there are no scheduled pit stops. If anybody does come in, it is for reasons known only to themselves, but they don't have to. So it is just soft tyres all the way. As I say, this is round 3. I shall quickly go down the top 5 as they stand in the league at the minute. So after 2 rounds, we've got Neil Farmack out in front on 60 points, Toby on 55, Bailey is on 48, Derg is on 48, and Toten is on 46. So I know it's only early days, but that's how the top 5 stack up so far in the league. So we'll crack on with this one. We'll go down the grid order. As I say, this is where they finished when they abandoned the first part of the race, so it's not after qualifying. So Smith is out in front, Bailey, his partner, is just behind him, so the Cray twins up front where they like to be. Neil Farmack sitting in 3rd, Derg is in 4th, Osman is 5th on the grid, 6th is Toten, 7th is Toby, Grasshopper in 8th, Fitzy is in 9th, Inky is 10th, Kenny D 11th, and Sideways George 12. So 12 on the grid out of a possible 16. Still not a bad turnout. Let's get the right camera. So we'll get this final part of this race underway. Remember, the guys have already done 12 laps. Now excuse me for coughing, and I will try and mute myself. This COVID thing is just not going away for me. So We are off and running as Smith crosses the start finish line and heads down towards the first turn, now known as Brenda's Beaver. Everybody trying to get through there without going off into the sand, and it looks like everybody has got through there. Next turn used to be called Druids, is now Wet Wendy. And as they go through Wet Wendy and down towards Licking Lizzie, everybody just in that train. Smith and Bailey still out in front, although Neil Fartmank is putting a challenge in on Bailey, trying to get right up behind him as they go down Julie's Jugs. Bailey, Smith starting to stretch his legs a little bit. Maybe this is a team plan that Bailey's going to hold the rest of the field up excuse me, to let Smith get away. Dirk sitting in fourth, he's got his teammate Toten just behind him. So it's a definite team event at the minute. Toby in sixth. Excuse me. Then we've got Osman, Grasshopper, Inky, Kenny and Sideways as they come across the start finish line to complete lap one. So back up to our current little race leader as he goes through Wet Wendy for the second time, using every inch of the track. Smith desperately trying to make a bit of get a bit of space between himself and his teammate doing everything he can to hold Neil Fartmank off as we head down the hill, down Julie's Jugs, down towards Dripping Daisy. Toten sticking right behind his teammate Dirk, through Mary's Melons and onto the Honey Pot. Toby still sitting in sixth, Osman in seventh, Grasshopper eighth. Now through Pauline's Puss, down the left-hander and on to Maureen's Muff, which will then take us back onto the start finish line. So everybody's still relatively close, apart from Kenny. Now did Kenny have a bit of a moment? I think there it was. Oh, he's got onto the grass and he was followed by, it looks like Sideways as well. But Kenny got back on and then ended up on the kitty litter and a kiss with barrier as well. That is so unlucky for Kenny. Sideways did well to keep his car going in a straight line, because he tended to follow Kenny, didn't he? But that's put Kenny all the way back now. A lot of work to do now to catch up to the rest of the group. Smith goes round Brenda's Beaver for the third time. Bailey getting a little bit closer now, starting to get a bit of daylight between himself and Neil. It's all still very close at the minute, which you would expect from these top drivers. Toten getting a little bit twitchy there as he goes through Julie's Jugs. Still keeping it straight though. I'm not sure about team orders for any of these teams this season, so whether Dirk will move over and let Toten through, or the plan is for Toten just to hold everybody else up, pretty much the same as what Smith and Bailey are doing. I'm not sure. Osman currently sitting in seventh. You can just see Toby and Dirk and Toten ahead of him. It's just a case of how close can he get. So Smith with the current fastest lap at the minute, a 1:23.1. Inky trying to tuck up behind Grasshopper as they go through Wet Wendy. Inky down the hill. Is he going to have a look? No, he can't get close enough, can he? Through Licking Lizzie and on to Julie's Jugs. Trying to get into that slipstream. Now if he can get a good exit here and tuck in behind, he may even be able to make a move on Grasshopper before he gets to Dripping Daisy. Down the hill, here he goes. No, he's still tucked in right underneath that rear bumper of Grasshopper. So through Mary's Melons onto the Honey Pot. Inky just a few inches away from Grasshopper's bumper, and he just cannot quite get the momentum to get by. We'll just watch these two as they go round Maureen's Muff, and let's just see if Inky can actually make a move before they get to turn 1. Maybe he's just content in sitting there for now, keeping the pressure on Grasshopper, waiting for him to make a mistake. Sideways George now having a bit of a lonely race in 10th, and Kenny way back in 11th. Excuse me. So Smith still out in front with his teammate Bailey just behind. I did get a little bit of a tip off before the race that this is one of Smith's favourites, and that he is a bit quick round here, and it is proving to be a good tip as well. There's no stopping Smith at the minute. Oh, Bailey getting a bit out of sorts there. Still going though, maybe took a little bit too much of that corner, previous corner. Neil Farmack still sitting in 3rd. Just starting to lose a little bit of ground on Bailey in front of him, but maintaining a gap back to Derg. Derg has still got Toten behind him. Toten playing wingman at the minute and fending off Toby. Now if Toby can get in between them two, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because maybe the game plan between Toten and Derg will sort of go out the window a little bit then. Very tight track this, it's very difficult to make an overtake. We've got Julie's Jugs, this straight here, which is one of the places you could probably make a move if you can get there before you get to Dripping Daisy. And then the other is just as you go through Maureen's Muff onto the start finish line, if you can get the move done before you hit turn 1. So let's just go back up to our current race. Oh, Bailey's gone very wide. Let's just have a look. That really is not like him. Down through Dripping Daisy, using every bit of the track that he can. Just cut this corner slightly. That all looked pretty good to me. And is it this where he went? Yeah, he didn't quite take enough off that corner, did he? Got himself on the grass. A fantastic job to recover though. Didn't affect his track position, but what it has enabled Neil to do is get a little bit closer to him, so maybe put a bit of pressure on now. So Neil Farmack is really getting close to Bailey now. Let's go on board with Neil as we go through Brenda's Beaver. Neil having a bit of a cheeky look up the inside. He's got himself there up towards Wet Wendy, and Neil is on the inside. Bailey desperately trying to cut it off. Bailey will be on the inside now as they go through Licking Lizzie, and Bailey retains that second position. A great little battle between these two. It was that mistake from Bailey that allowed Neil to get closer to him. And Neil tried his luck there, but it didn't quite pay off. He's got Dirk still sitting in his mirrors with Toten just behind him and Toby in 6. So the top 6 doesn't seem to have changed at all. Oh, Neil having to fight that steering wheel as we go through these final few turns through the honey pot down to Pauline's Puss. And then on to Maureen's Muff, and it looks like Neil has lost a little bit of ground on Bailey, so Bailey has managed to get himself back on track, on focus. Dirk still in 4th, he's got Toten behind him. I don't think Toten's really pushing to make a move on Dirk. This is good teamwork. I thought Dirk was going to go a little bit wide then, but managed to bring it back on track. Osman down in 7th. You can see the guys ahead of him. He just needs to push a little bit more to get a bit closer. All the while, Toten and Toby are all, and the likes are all battling away. Then that will give Osman the opportunity to catch up. Inky now down in 8th, with Grasshopper in 9th, Sideways George 10th and Kenny 11th. Kenny, after that spill in the, I think it was the first lap, kind of ruins your race when you do that and you end up a good 10 seconds or so, or maybe more, behind the rest of the pack. But he'll keep going. So Smith coming through Maureen's Muff across the start finish line to start lap 9. 2 more laps to go. He really has got quite a gap opened up now back to Bailey. A couple of slight mistakes from Bailey has cost him that ground on his teammate, but he's still maintaining 2nd position. Got himself a little bit of breathing space from Neil Farmack in 3rd. Dirk sitting in 4th. He's getting closer and closer to Neil. Could be an interesting last lap and a half. If Dirk can get a little bit closer, get in the slipstream. Oh, now Toby's managed to get past Toten and we missed that. Let's have a look and see if I can find where that was. Well, to go back quite a way there. Oh, it was a dive up the inside. A great move from Toby. I think Toten just completely left the door open as they went through Licking Lizzie and onto Julie's Jugs, and Toby just stepped through the door and said thank you very much, and he's off now. He is amongst the 2 teammates now. So I'm just going to skip forward a little bit because we did have to come back quite a way. So Toten fighting back now. Now then, is Dirk going to play part of this? Will he try and hold Toby up a bit and allow Toten to catch up and make a move? Or is Dirk just too busy concentrating on trying to make a move on Neil Farmer? Oh, Toby, that car really put him in a big complaint as we go through Licking Lizzie there. Still no change at the top. This is where the battle is at the minute. It's Toten pushing hard. Let's go on board with Toten as we try desperately to catch up with Toby on the 2nd to last lap. Toby using every inch of the track as well. All these guys really do push the track limits. Oh, Toten bit out of sorts, through onto Maureen's Muff, heading towards that start finish line to start the final lap. So let's just go back up to our race leader at the minute. Well, he's got this race in the bag, hasn't he, Smith? He has just pulled away and he has gone. A slight mistake from Bailey earlier on. cost him a bit of ground, and Smith took full advantage and just scampered away. Lap time's coming down, currently at 122.7 for Smith, so he really does enjoy this this track, doesn't he? So down Julie's jugs for the final time of race 1. We're going to follow him now all the way. We won't, we'll just have a quick look, see what's going on behind. Bailey's still coming under a bit of pressure from Neil Farmack. Dirk's still there. And then we've got Toby and Toten battling away for 5th. I'm not sure Neil is going to get close enough to Bailey to make a move. So let's just go back up to our leader, Smith, through Morinsmouth for the final time. And you can see the checkered flag, and that is a fantastic victory for Smith. Well deserved, led from the start. Bailey comes through his teammate to take 2nd position. Good result for him. Neil Farmack 3rd, Dirk 4th, Toby 5th, and Toten 6th. Osman takes 7th. Inky with a half-second penalty is going to come in at 8th with Grasshopper. With that penalty, Grasshopper finished 8th and Inky got 9th. Sideways George got 10th and Kenny in 11th. So great racing from this first race, albeit a very short race. Hope you can join me for race 2 when we were doing, I'm sure, the full 22 laps. See you soon.